Don here, back with another live stream. 2 in 1 day. Yes, excuse me. So far, anyway, everything works out all right. Okay, I'm checking my live stream. Oh, it's perfect timing. I got to get that cough. And I think what I'll do is pause it and see if it'll... the fan's already kind of ramping up. I rebooted it like earlier. Last video I said I was going to take a little break, or I don't know if I said short. It wasn't short exactly, but it wasn't several, a day or two or three or a week or a month. But anyway, I realized once I've had my little break that I need to go ahead and eat my supper because I've been up all night, and it was about noon or a little before. So I'd had my lunch sometime this morning early, 6 or 7 or something. So anyway, I feel much better with that. And so I'm gonna get back to work on the HP server, sitting over here on the table, and that's the VGA. I unplugged it because I got to thinking. Well, I mentioned that before, but I figured it wasn't going to take effect. Just unplugging the VGA while it was running. I didn't want to shut it down because I was messing with, looking through ILO and everything, all the ILO information, and I figured it wouldn't take effect on the fans unless I shut it down and turn it back on. So hopefully, and I looked at the settings in the you can see. I don't know if all of the fan settings are in there. That might be. It's simpler in there, I know that. I think there's some more stuff you can do in the RBSU, the BIOS. But it's on the one I wanted on, the one that's kind of automatic, depending on the load and all that stuff. So I'm going to leave it like that and boot it back up. I didn't change anything, and I'll boot it back up and see. Hopefully it'll be a little quieter. The last time I had it on, it's been a month ago, though. I really thought it wasn't near that loud, or quite that loud or whatever. After I worked a while, I kind of started not noticing it as much, but it's definitely too loud, to have it, well, probably anywhere in this room, unless it's, like I said before, unless I put an insulated box around it or put it in an insulated box. I mean, I've kind of looked at rack boxes and stuff, and they're pretty expensive. I don't want to spend as much on the box as I did on the server, But I have some stuff in the garage I might be able to kind of enclose it with. I've got aluminum bent like that, and then I've got some sheet metal that's bent the same way with some insulation inside. It's part of an air conditioning duct, or probably something to do with the I can't even think now. Anyway, and plenum. I was thinking it might be part of a plenum, but anyway, my neighbor gave it to me. He's an air conditioning guy, and he gave it to me several 10 years ago, probably now, I guess, for a different purpose. But I was thinking about putting it over a window unit to make it quieter. I was thinking about, I won't go any further. That'd be a long story to start and not finish, because if I finish it, I'll make turn my head too far and it won't hear me anyway. All right, so I'm trying to think. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go into ORCA, and that'll be hitting F8 during boot. You have to hit it at the right time, I think. A lot of that stuff, you got to wait till certain things go by before it will take effect, the way you want it to. Matter of fact, I swear some of the same function keys do something different depending on where you are in the boot process, but maybe I'm just goofy about that. But anyway, I'm going to turn it on. I could try getting... No. I was going to say I could try getting into ILO again with it not running, but because it says it's supposed to do that, but it might not be turned on to do that or something. Maybe I missed something. So many things to set that you can set in this thing. But I'm just going to go turn it on and we'll get back over here and see. I think I will. I'll switch over to the wireless mic so that, because I'm going to have to turn it on, get back over here, and try and. Oh, what do I want it set on? How to set the. I want, okay, camera 2, yeah, to see the screen, and I want me. Oh, I set that up. I didn't have that, and I decided to go ahead and set that up. So I've got camera 2, and which will be pointing at the monitor, and then the other one can show me. You won't be able to read it. I mean, I could just do camera 2 and make it bigger, but you can't read it either way. I just don't have a camera that can do that. Even after I bought my new camera, it can't do it either. It's actually not as good as the phone, so I'm using the phones again. All right, so we're going to turn it on. There we go. The last time I wasn't sure what was supposed to be, it was happening like it should. Stayed over there till it was pretty well completely booted up. So we're going to go to 4 on my KVM switch. Now that I can't see my preview in OBS, that's why I want that laptop to show me what's going on. So, yeah, and it should, oh, I got to hit the buttons on the monitor to switch it to DVI input. I'm using an HDMI cable and a D adapter to HDMI. It still hasn't come up with a signal, but it's pretty slow about that, so I'm not concerned yet. It did say no signal, but let's see. Make sure it didn't. Sometimes if there's no signal, whoops. And sometimes it doesn't want to take. Just leave it like that, I guess. Oh, I see a signal now. Okay. So I'm going to reload my preview up there while I'm waiting on this. I wouldn't have to tell you all that, but I don't know. It seems like I have to announce everything, even if you can't see it. Seems to how my brain only works that way, I guess. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, we got sound, we got video. It is not in the green, though, I just noticed. So, yeah, I've got the video pause. That does allow me to have that open for longer. F8. I wasn't paying any attention. I want to hit it now. Control S to enter configuration. Oh, it worked. Okay. So option ROM configuration for arrays version 8.30.08.00. Configure copyright 2010 Hewlett Packard Development Company LP. Controller HP Smart Array P410i slot O. Yeah, option ROM configuration arrays. That's ORCA. Okay, this is the right place. Direct attach storage. Create a logical drive, view logical drive, delete logical drives, manage license keys. Oh, that's where you manage the license keys. So, it's just exactly the same amount of volume as it was before, though. So I don't guess I've really, it's not near as quiet as it was when I first got it before I put the video card in it. And it may not, only way I could probably get it any quieter is to set it to not ramp up. I'm looking at my, talking and looking at my thing again. I wanted to make sure it was still working. Looking at my preview. Only way I could, yeah, okay, so I can navigate in there now. I can imagine getting it quieter. I may try it just to see. Getting it quieter by setting it to low power mode, and it's like I said, I think it says static, low power mode, static, or static low power mode. And there's one that's, I think, static high performance mode, and then there's one like high performance mode, I think. I don't. Anyway, there's 4 choices I saw when I was in ILO today that I remembered vaguely what they say. But the one that I'm using is dynamic, so basically automatic. According to which is really, I think, the best thing overall, but not for this. Evidently not for the sound level with that video card in there. But you got to remember that video card takes 150. It can draw 150 watts. You need that much to make it run right. It says you're going to need that much available. So at idle, it's probably not drawing. I don't know what it's be drawing, but could guess, but had no idea. So anyway, okay. So I'm probably going to create, a logical drive. But first, I'm going to view and see if there's any set up in there. Almost sure there's not. But at the bottom, I want to make sure press enter to create a new logical drive. Up and down arrow keys to select the menu options, the standard, CLI screens, Escape to exit. Yeah, escape to exit. For more configuration options, use HP array configuration utility. Oh, okay. And I guess that's the one that you have to download the ISO for and boot it to that. Or if you had the CD, I saw a video when a guy had an HP branded CD that, he got with the server, I guess. Unless he bought it separate or something, who knows. But anyway, this will be fine. I just need to do the basic stuff. So I'm going to go to view logical, and that same instructions are pretty much the same. Okay, view logical drives. There are no drives available. Escape to return. Okay, so, and manage license keys. Let's see what that says. Add a license key. View license key. There are no installed license keys because these are not. So this is not an ILO license key. This is some other kind of extra feature license key, I guess. Probably to do with storage stuff. Maybe to do with that. I don't know if it would have to do with that. The P410i controller RAID card. It's not like it doesn't go on a PCIe slot though. It's a PCI device, but it's goes into a special slot on the board. It's real small. I showed it in my first couple of videos when I first got the server, and I've seen them before in Morton's videos. Morton of my Playhouse channel, he showed that. That's how come I knew what that stuff was when I saw it. So, and I've seen them in some other videos too. So anyway, create a logical drive. There we go. Okay. Option ROM configuration utility, same basic stuff at the top and the bottom. Okay, now. Yeah, okay. So I've got 8 drives. And they're all selected right now. I guess if I was to, I'm gonna go down to, if you hit the space key, it'll deselect them. So what I'm thinking I may do, okay. Now in the manual, it showed that you couldn't do this, but it's already pre-selected all 8 drives, and it's automatically selected the X on RAID 5. There's a RAID 50, a RAID 5, a RAID 1 through O, and then RAID O. 1 plus O. I don't know what RAID 1 plus O is at all. That's not what it said in the manual. Now there you go. Those manuals are they're very helpful, but if they deviate from what's in the actual BIOS, or ORCA in this case. Well, that's a lot of studying went out the window. When I first got it, I did a bunch of studying in the manuals. Got the user manual, the ILO manual, the uh, maintenance manual or whatever. Like this is the full manual, the hardware, everything manual. Uh, yeah, I think that's the three main ones I've got. I think I have like a brochure or a quick start guide or something. All PDFs, I downloaded from HP site, but they're very, very. I mean, I couldn't figure all this out without them. But that's really why I didn't expect that to see. Okay, I just saw something threw me off. I didn't expect to see this to be so different. I mean, it's actually a pleasant surprise because RAID 50 is. I'm not going to use it. Uh, I thought I might use RAID 2 or RAID 5, but I'm either going to use RAID 5 or RAID 50. And I remember reading something about RAID 50, but now I don't remember. But exactly what it is, what you get. What I want is just like decent redundancy, but I don't want definitely don't want to lose any more. Like if I should have read up on it. Now I can't remember for sure, but I think with it in RAID, actually RAID 2 is the one that I was thinking. Two drives equal. Okay, 246 gigabyte drives. You actually got 146 gigabyte of storage. I think with RAID 5, it doesn't take away quite as much because it does it in I guess you'd say, more intelligent way. But here's the thing. I haven't ever, well, I mean, I'm using my backup drives, but I have had this plan ever since before I bought the server that either one or two of these, my Seagate backup drives, I think they're the same size of drives. These are SAS drives. They're much better than SATA drives, but, I've got a 5 terabyte, well, actually four, like 4.5 terabyte actual space, and an 8 terabyte, 7.3 terabyte actual space. The 8 terabyte I leave just like it is. See what I've got right now. They're USB Seagate USB backup drives. I got them plugged into my Lenovo i5 that I'm, streaming from right now. And I hooked up to check my stream and it was frozen. It scared me and I realized, oh yeah, I paused it so the machine wouldn't be overworked. Yeah, I thought that fan on that laptop was bothering me until I start this thing up. It kind of sounds like an industrial machine running. Uh, I was going to say I haven't. I don't. Well, I either don't want to do it because it's too hard to do at the time, or too inconvenient, or I forget. But I noticed that I realized I don't ever. You're not hearing it on the SM58 hardly at all. I think there's a little background noise when I'm talking, and I think that's the server. But it doesn't really sound right. It just sounds like some strange noise, almost like electrical buzz in the line or something. But I notice it only comes in when I talk, and that's when the noise gate opens up, is when I talk, and that lets that's the only time you're going to get any background noise unless it's louder than I talk, or as loud as I talk. And with the lapels, it's the same thing, but they're not quite as the mics themselves aren't as good at straining out background noise as the SM58 that I'm talking on right now. So, but I have this dual lapels, and I could put one of them closer to the server, and then you'd be able to hear it for sure. But now I can't even switch mics or anything without going back to the other machine and all that. So I'm not going to do that on my KVM switch. But I think I will. Okay, so my Seagate backup drives. What I had thought I would do maybe is buy another 8 terabyte, or even just buy a 10 terabyte if they go on sale. That's what I did with the 8 terabyte. I bought the 8 terabyte because it wasn't just hardly any more than the 5 terabyte was when I bought it a couple of years before, or maybe longer. But anyway, I thought, well, at least I kind of wanted to put both of them in here. But to do that, you have to reformat them. So I thought, well, I can't do that. So I could put the 5 terabyte in here, and I was thinking I would do 6 drives for I want plenty of space for my operating system, because I'm not just going to have an operating system. I'm going to have virtual machines. Anything like, I mean, with 64 gig of memory and two 6-core processors plus 24 cores with all the hyperthreading, I can run virtual machines galore, you know. And I mean, that's what servers, one of the things they're for, you know. So that's what I was wanting to do. And I can have a Windows 7, I can have a Windows XP. If I want a Windows 10, I can do that. And I can have other Linux VMs. I was thinking I might put Fedora. I'm going to put Fedora 32 Mate Desktop as the main operating system, and then, unless I change my mind and try to learn. See, I've never used. I can't think of the right word, but the command line server that you would run your virtual machines in, like VMware. But I was going to use the Red Hat version as well. Hypervisor. I haven't ever used a hypervisor. I've watched quite a few videos on them, but you know, I don't as of now know how to just. I have not went and studied on. I want to use Red Hat because Red Hat is the parent company of Fedora. I know Fedora inside and out, and Red Hat is somewhat different, but well, there's quite a few differences. A lot of things you have to do manually that's automatic in Fedora. So I thought, well, I know Fedora inside and out. I know VirtualBox pretty darn well, and also there's KVM and boxes that Fedora uses now, and another one that I've used. I can't think of the name of it now. So I can do all that inside of Fedora. And since this server's powerful enough, you know, I don't necessarily need a hypervisor that's a command line only tool from what I understand. I don't think like I said, I haven't even done any real reading on it, but Red Hat's hypervisor, I figure, is a command line system, just, you know, without a GUI, just like VM. I've seen quite a few videos on VMware, you know, and so I figure it's kind of look somewhat like that and run somewhat like that. But I don't like working in the command line unless I have to. I make too many mistakes, so my eyes swap letters and numbers, and that really gives me trouble. So I was thinking originally I would do 6 drives, say, in an RAID array, and that's where I would run my operating system, put my virtual machines, just you know, personal files and everything. Like what I've been, and I'll have more room. I can see what I have to do on the Lenovo. It's only 250 gigabyte hard drive in it, and so when I make videos, you know, the very day, and within a couple of days, I've got to go ahead and once they're backed up onto both hard drives, because it goes from the Lenovo to the 5 terabyte and from the 5 terabyte to the 8 terabyte. So I have redundant backups. Then I have to delete, once I get make sure the backups are there, then I delete the ones off of the 250 gigabyte drive in the Lenovo i5. And so what I could do, though, is I wish I would have never left that 5 terabyte as NTFS. It's broken 3 or 4 times, and I've had to fix it. You know, just really worrisome whenever file system breaks and you may have lost all your backups. And that was before I had a second backup, you know. So when I got the 8 terabyte, I formatted ext4 because I knew it was super dependable, and it would give me the full space, you know, of the drive. Like I thought about using BTRFS because it's kind of like a software array in itself, and but it would, you know, I didn't want to lose that much space. So and I don't know how to work with it. They didn't have any GUI tools to work with it, just command line tools. And that's when I said, well, no, I don't want to mess with that. So even Morton, he's not into Linux, he's into Windows, but he uses BTRFS on a lot of stuff. And although he is using Proxmox, which is run on Debian Linux, so he's kind of getting into it, I guess. He didn't used to do anything with any kind of Linux when I started watching him 3 or 4 years ago, watching his videos. But anyway, I was thinking, you know, well, these HP drives, I learned this, well, not just from Morton, but from other places. They say they're pretty bad about failing. So I thought, well, maybe I should pull 2 out and keep them as backups. And then if one of the ones that have data on them fail, you know, I take it out and put a new drive in, and then once it recovers, I'm good again. So I thought, well, I could take 2 out and I thought, well, and then I could put, at first I was thinking, okay, I put both of my, take them out of the case and put the Seagate, because this machine will take SATA drives. And I think they're the same size as these are these small laptop drive size hard drives. And I think that's what's in my box. That's what everybody says. Even when I bought them, there was somebody in the comments on Amazon saying that, you can do that. And but I've seen Morton take a bunch of them out. He's been doing that a lot. And some of them are small and some of them are big, like a regular hard drive. So I won't throw out the numbers because I'll get it wrong. What is it? The small ones are 2.5 and the bigger ones are 3.5 or something like that. But anyway, I got to keep the data on the 8 terabyte, but I could make darn sure that there's nothing that didn't get copied over. I have figured out one thing. I use Lucky Backup, which is a GUI for rsync, a Linux syncing application, and or a Unix-like syncing application, however you want to say it. I'm pointing over here at my drives, trying to help me think. Make darn sure everything is for sure. What I was going to say is, if you have a file that didn't get written, and it'll be end up being smaller than your original, or something. With videos is the only time I've really noticed this. And that's the main thing I'm wanting to back up is all my videos. And if it's a 0-byte file, it won't get overwritten by the next time you run Lucky Backup. It won't get overwritten, and that's because I set it to skip files that are already there. I didn't realize it was just not going to check them at all. I thought it checked the size at least, and if it was smaller, it would overwrite it, and I did that because it would take forever to back things up if I didn't do it that way. But and my system, I can't hardly, my Lenovo i5, I can barely even can use it while it's backing up. It's just the system's just not powerful enough. It's too much for it, and especially writing big video files. Like the last one I just did earlier today was like 4.5 gigabytes, not terabytes. So anyway, I can turn that back on. I'm going to turn that on to not skip, period. Just look at every file. That way, make sure it gets written, really checked and written. But anyway, I could put, what I could say though, so with what I got now, I could put that 5 terabyte drive in the server, and it could be, it's definitely going to write faster to it that way than if it overthrew a USB 2.0, interface. And but I thought. Oh, there's another thing. I thought the reason I thought I needed to do 2 drives was because I thought that you had to pair them, like that. I didn't think you could, in a RAID, I didn't think you could have an odd drive, like, 7 drives. Like, say I leave 7 in there and put the 5 terabyte drive in by 8, I might be able to do that after reading in those screenshots of the manual, because it was showing one instance where you had, 5 drives, I think it said, that you could use RAID 5. I think is what it said. So maybe that's because RAID 5 operates in a way that you can do that, and RAID 2 doesn't, maybe. I've watched videos on that, but it's been quite, since I was really trying to learn about it last year, and now it's been a long time. I bought the server. I've almost had it a year now. I still haven't got it up and set up and everything. And So anyway, I'm going in circles, uh, as usual on this subject, but I'm also, I'm getting pretty tired, but I didn't want to quit because I'm finally getting to the point to doing this. But I ate and now I'm getting sleepy and tired. So, but anyway, I'm not going to do anything to those drives right now. I'm just trying to plan ahead so that I don't end up with data on a drive and then want to take it out, but it's got a bunch of data on it. It's like I'm talking about with these backup drives. So I really want to reformat that one that's the 5 terabyte that's NTFS. And putting it in here and letting it reformat it to. I really don't know what file system they're using in here in this. And I've noticed that whenever anybody Morton or anybody sets up a RAID array, it's in a utility like this usually, and doesn't say anything. It doesn't give you a choice to the file system, and it doesn't even tell you what file system it's using. So I don't know. I may have known that it's seen something about that at some point, but I don't remember it now. I'm used to having a choice, of the file system. When you set up, drives and operating systems, I'm used to having a choice of the file system you want. If you want to, you can either go by the defaults and let it do it automatically, or you can do it manually and do what you want. And so, I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure whatever it is fine. Servers are the most dependable computers you can get. So not worried about it or anything. And of course, SAS drives might not even work well with certain different file systems either that I use all the time with Linux, for all I know. But I wonder what RAID 1+0 is. I could look it up, but the thing is here, the only way I can see this is, I wonder if I could, trying to think. Okay, the only way I can see this and read it, I could see it on my laptop screen up there in my preview, but I was thinking, okay, I could look at that. Because if I get off of this machine and go back to my machine to get on Google to do a search, I don't know what I have a hard time remembering things even that short of time. So I think, yeah, okay, so what I got, I'll go over what's in here now. I know you probably can't read it, especially since it's smaller like that, but that's just the way I wanted to do it. So I just liked it, but I looked into my videos or in the past, and when I just do a camera at the monitor for long periods of time, and you can't read it, and it just looks, I noticed that one of the last couple of videos I did this, just like I have it right now, and I liked that better. It seemed more engaging, so I enjoyed watching it more that way than I did when you're just looking at the screen but you can't really read it, because you're really just going to have to listen, to a babbling old fella. Okay, so right now it automatically selected, and this HP servers, these DL380s are big on, this is a Gen 7, they're big on automatic configuration, and if you put that CD in there, that's what it'll do. I think you can do manual, but it already selected all the drives. They selected RAID 5, and you can change it if you want, and I think I want RAID 5. I think what it selected is probably the best thing for me. But then the other thing, let's see, use the tab to page around. OneDrive is a spare. I do know what that is, and I'm not going to do that because, I guess it'd be cool, but I'd rather have it out and on the shelf and not being spun and not having a chance to get damaged, I think it's going to last longer sitting on the shelf as long as it's, you know, in the house, not out in the heat or in the moisture and the cold and the heat and all that. And then now there's something I hadn't seen in the, you know, any of my screenshots that I went through this morning. Maximum boot partition, disabled 4 gigabyte maximum. Oh, enabled. Well, that's weird. Disable 4 gigabyte maximum. Enable 8 gigabyte maximum. Huh. Okay. Well, the X is set on disable 4 gigabyte maximum. So I guess that means and the other one says enable 8 gigabyte maximum. Well, most of the time, let's see. The boot partition, I think it's either 2 or 4 gigabyte now with Fedora 32. Well, I haven't installed 32. I've installed 29 server, and I think it might be 4 gigabyte for the boot partition. It used to be 500 megabytes, and then it went up a little more and a little more. I don't see how it would possibly be any more than 4 gigabyte, but it says disable 4 gigabyte maximum. The next one that's not selected says enable. I moved the cursor all the way over to the other side, but I guess I could try to get back over there. Okay, where I'm at now, disable 4 gigabyte maximum. So what is that saying? The maximum boot partition is disabled, but it's still 4 gigabyte maximum? Makes no sense. And then, whoops, it doesn't go to the next one. Oh, you can't select that other one. Oh, up or down arrow keys, goofball. Oh, and the X moves with your selection. Okay. Oh, you don't have to hit the space bar to do it on there. So enable 8 gigabyte maximum. Well, that tells me, okay, it's enabled. The maximum boot partition is enabled. 8 gigabytes is your maximum. But the other one says, okay, maximum boot partition is disabled, but 4 gigabytes your maximum. So, well, what the heck? It should just say 4 gigabyte maximum, 8 gigabyte maximum. When it says disabled, that to me, that usually means that there is no maximum. But then it turns around and in parentheses says 4 gigabyte maximum. I think that's fine, but I surely don't want to have it like that and then find out that my boot partition is just, it's like 4, it says it's 4 gigabyte, but what it really is going to be 4.01, or something, and it won't work. That's why I was going. But I think I'll leave it like that because this machine it runs with Red Hat from 2010 though. Back then, no, it wasn't. It was like 500 megabytes, I'm sure, just like Fedora. And then the parity group count, I don't remember what that is. But nothing's selected there. 2, 3, 4, and 5. I can't move up and down with the arrow keys though. I guess I can't select it either. You must not be able to do that at all you can't select it and you can't move up and down through it. So, so I don't want to make an array or a pool. I think it's going to, in here, I guess in this RAID thing, they're going to call it RAID array. I know in some of the tools that Martin was using, it has a pool, a drive pool, and all different terms that they use. But, and sometimes they are not the same thing, a RAID array and a pool and there's another one that I see them talking about. So do I want 6 or do I want to go ahead? If I do all 8 now, I think it would be better. Let's see. How much space will I have? 146, which is, I guess you're going to actually get less space than that as usual. I guess I'll have to get my my calculator out, and see if I can get a general idea about what I'll be ending up with. But this whole thing altogether is less than one of my other drives. Is why I want at least one big drive in there. This thing actually, I didn't look to see. Um, you can find, like, I got these two 750-watt power supplies, both of them for $27 on Amazon, and they're working great. So there's a thing called the HP Big Drive. Now, I don't know if you could really make it work on a really big drive, you know, like a 5 or 8 terabyte or a 10 terabyte. But I got to thinking, well, hey, I wonder if I could get that. It doesn't have the hardware in there. This one doesn't. But I thought if I could find that hardware and put it in there, and then I think it would accept a SATA drive, a SATA drive. Put that in there, and put a, you know, thing is, if it's supposed to only support up to a certain size, you know, and it's not, you know, I don't remember how big it was, but two terabyte maybe, or something like that, 3. But I thought, well, since I'm gonna be running Fedora, it'll accept it, you know, even. But I think it's going to have to go through the RAID controller to be used, and that will probably limit. It might limit it, and you can't do that. But you might be able to partition it out, like that maximum size that you can get, and then keep partitioning it out or something. I don't know, but anyway, that's in the future. Okay, so 146 times 6. That is 876 gigabytes. Okay. Now let's see. 146 times 8. That is 1,168 gigabytes. So that's about a terabyte. I'm sure you're going to lose a bunch, you know. So see, that's, you know, my backup drives, 4.5 actual terabytes, and then 7.3 actual terabytes on those other drives. So I would like to have, I was thinking originally, I would like to have 2 big drives in there, and then these SAS drives are going to be faster at reading and writing than the SATA drives. So I thought that would be my operating system, like the first 6. And that'll give me, what I just forgot, 146 times 6. 876 gigabytes, so, you know, somewhere in there. And then leave those other ones. I was thinking I would, like I said, take them out to preserve them. I don't know if that's actually the best way to preserve them or not, really. Yeah. But you might do better in the machine, but not being heavily, you know. It's like a car, you let it set and it just rusts and corrodes. And so I could do 6 for my main operating system, and then the other 2, go ahead and put them in a array or a pool or whatever you call it, of just those 2 drives. And then, but I can take them out. I won't care. I won't put any data on them that you know, if I do put anything on them, then I make sure and back it up. And once I get this server up and going, and it's my main computer and server, what I'd like to do is go ahead and make it my main, you know, my main computer, leave it running, and set up a Fedora server on it in a virtual machine, and just let it run 24/7. But I'll have to, if I can't get it any quieter than this, it'd have to be like in the closet, because I don't think any kind of boxes I could put around it would knock down that noise. And I still don't, well, actually being in the closet wouldn't be good enough, I don't think. But that's an awful lot of, that's the thing, that'd be a lot of work to get it in there. I have to buy more cables that are longer. Anytime I want to get to it, it'd be really hard to get to the back of it, you know, just to hook up a cable or something. Well, if I turn it around the other way, then I can't get to the buttons. And yeah, that closet's straight back behind me where that towel's hanging. I've put it in the rack, and I'd like to have it to where I can reach it without getting up out of the chair to plug in USBs and stuff. Although they're on the left side, I couldn't reach them anyway, I guess. I debated about putting it down really low so that the sound, that would be the best place for me for the sound, I think, not spreading around the whole room because it's carpet and everything down there. But I got 2 desktops down there. Actually, usually I can get, there's one of them's really wide, but I can get 3 normal width desktops down there. But I've got 2 down there now. So if I bring it up higher, then of course the sound will come right at me. And that's the thing, even if I put a box over it of some sort, the noise is still coming out of the front, you know. Right now I hear a lot of noise out of the side. There's one set of vents in the side towards the back, and that wouldn't be right next to me right now where it's sitting. It is, you know. So it's why I can really hear it. But and I would actually, the heat's going to be a major concern either way. In the closet, I can put a duct going out the roof into the attic. In the over here by the window, I'd have to rig me up something, build me something to, you know, like where I can open the window about 4 to 6 inches, and then it would, you know, some board or metal or something with it. I actually have some dryer duct that I used for, what did I do? Oh, I put it on the dryer and put a filter in it. I used a cardboard box and a filter to catch the dust, you know, the lint, and I used it for a while, but I really just wanted to use it in the winter to help warm the garage when I was out there, but I don't go out there much anymore, so I took it off years and years ago. Now the neighbor, this air conditioning man, he installed it. Well, him and him and Randy, and I guess Randy would be a stepson. We grew up with the boys across the street, and anyway, their dad. Long story, but Randy, his stepson, and him put that in, and I helped some too, with like cutting stuff with cutting some wood and stuff, and so anyway, they go straight out up into the attic. They don't. Let's see, do they go outside? I think they go all the way out through the roof. I can't remember if we just put them up in the attic or out into the roof. I think we put them all the way out through the roof because, you know, you really wouldn't want all that lint collecting up in the attic. It's pretty flammable, you know. Now I can't even remember, but anyway, that's what we did, and it hasn't given any trouble. I never thought that would be a good thing to do. I had seen them in 2-story houses, but I thought that was, you know, the lint is light, but it still catches on things pretty easy, and I just knew it would build up. Went straight up, you like. Straight up and then turning to go out, you know. I just thought that was a bad idea, but he said he'd had his that way for 10 years, so he ended up doing it. My mom wanted it. She got tired of the dryer, you know, blowing lint into the garage and heat in the summer and all that. And she's the one that actually told him to do it, and I didn't even know they were going to do it until they started doing it. But it's been there 10 or 15 years now, so, and I haven't had any trouble so far. I don't know of. So, why am I talking about dryer vents? Oh, because of the heat, getting the heat out of here from the server. So anyway, yeah, I don't want that one in. Okay, I don't want neither. I don't want 7 and 8 in this array. Okay. When I think of RAID, I always think of a RAID array. That's how I originally learned it before I started seeing them talking about pools and this and that and the other. Now, the other thing is, Enter to create the logical drive. I guess you can be wherever you want and just hit enter. And the priority group count is not something that's going to let you do anything about. I'm not going to use one as a I'm going to put that cursor right down there on that. I'm not sure if I want to leave it like that or change it. What I may do, I might go ahead and format these other two drives into a little array of their own, or a little pool of their own, drive pool of their own. But I guess you'll have to do one and then come back and do the other, because that's what it's looking to me like. So because there's hit enter to create a logical drive. And I do know what a logical drive is. It's Proxcate. Let me think. I guess it's the same. I was trying to think. Like in Fedora, you have primary partitions, and I guess the other one is logical partitions, and then you have the LVM, which logical volume logical volume management. Same thing, just with array, using array, hardware software instead of Linux software. So yeah, logical volume management. I've dealt with that ever since I got into Linux. So I just think of it as LVM. That's what they call it. So yeah, logical drives. Okay, so well, the hard drives themselves are the hardware, and then the group together as one drive with, RAID backup capabilities. RAID 5 is what I'm going to go ahead and leave it, I think. That's your logical volume. And so then make another logical volume with drive 7 and 8, I think, unless I just want to take them out. Well, I can't take them out right now. I don't have any of those covers to take them out. I guess I can take the drive out of the little case, but I don't really want to do that. I'll probably format them, and kind of almost makes me think, well, why don't I do 3 and 3? But no, 4 and 4. I mean, if I did, let's see, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's about 6 terabytes. Not quite. That might be that's another way I could do it. I think every system I've ever had, I always end up running out of space on my main drive that has my operating system. And then when you want to play with virtual machines and have big video files on there, this server will be for editing videos, and I need space. You always run into trouble if your files are off on a USB drive or something, or a network drive. Before there were USB drives to buy or that you could afford, I used to have them on other computers and I remember setting up videos to be edited where the original files were off on 1 or 2 different computers on the network. And it worked great. It's just slow, a little confusing. And if you end up moving something, then you're, you can't re-edit it again with that same profile, I'll say, because, all editors will save that file and you could go back and make change. Like you see, oh, I don't like that, I want to change it. Well, you don't want to start over. You can open up that file, and as long as it can find all the original files, then you can just start, make a couple of changes and render it again. So I'm thinking about all that. Yeah, so all this going around in circles and rambling on and on, it actually all has it's really important to figure out how you want to do it ahead of time. I've learned that from years and years of experience of not really having a plan, I've tried to have a plan every time ever since back when I kind of learned that by the time I got to XP, and then in 2005 when I discovered Linux. I already kind of had that in mind, but you don't have enough money to buy drives or something, this or that or the other, But right now I can buy another drive. I just want to wait for one to be on sale cheap enough. I don't want to pay Well, like sales will come up. You know, this is August. Sales will be coming up in the next couple of months. I should be able to get one at a decent price. Either another 8 terabyte or. I got to thinking, well, you know, it's actually kind of good to have your first backup drive to be a little smaller than the second backup drive, because then you always end up with some duplicates. No matter how hard you try not to, you're going to end up with some duplicates. So if your second backup drive is bigger than the first one, it won't get filled up from those duplicates. And then one day, when you find your around to it, you might actually get rid of those duplicates. But well, on the server, I could do that. My machine's not powerful to run a duplicate file search. I mean, overnight. If I left it running overnight, it wouldn't be done. I used to do that all the time, and it wouldn't be done. And it might take. Sometimes I've seen it take 2 or 3 days, and that was long before I got this much data, you know. And they were on the IDE hard drives in the machine, not USB drives, you know. That's going to be even slower. So that's why I keep trying to figure out the best way to put it in the server, much of it as I can in the server. Don't have the money to just buy a bunch of, you know, 8 or 10 terabyte drives and fill the server up with them. I wouldn't want to spend that much money on doing that, you know. Besides, these SAS drives are faster and better for putting your operating system on. Of course, most people that do servers, they usually, or at least, well, I don't know what most people do, but I know Morton, he's pretty he really likes, either putting a small, usually he's using a hypervisor or something anyway, and it's small, so he puts it on a SD card or a USB stick. He seems to usually put them on a USB stick and inside the server. This will do both, either one. And I thought about doing that for the operating system, but 128 gigabyte it's cheap. I just bought three of them for $12 each. Well, when you jump up to 256, which is just about the size of my hard drive in my Lenovo, not big enough, and it's a whole lot more expensive. You know what I mean? Just really jumps up. So that's why I just went back to the hard drives. I thought about doing that, and I thought, no, because I can have a whole lot more space on these hard drives. It's going to be plenty fast for me. I really don't have, the only trouble I have with my machine, it's not the read and write speed, it is the video memory that it has on it, 256 megabytes on the Lenovo and only 4 gig of RAM. When I was running Fedora, I did get Fedora booted up on it. Yes, Fedora 29, because that would fit on my USB stick. When you click on something on Firefox, it opened up instantly, and I haven't seen that in years. And it's because this machine is slow, not because I have 10 gigabits download and 10 megabit download and 200 megabit 200 start over done. I have 200 megabits download speed and 10 gigabit upload speed with my ISP, so that is not the problem. And I check it, whenever if I think something's wrong, I always check it. Sometimes there is something wrong, but check my server again. I thought I'd be able to kind of do this quick, but I guess I can't do anything quick. I started thinking about all the stuff that I trying to get this thing paused again. There we go. I was checking my stream. I don't know if the laptop's doing okay or if I just can't hear it because the server's so loud, to be honest, but I've just been pausing it and then hitting play, hit reload, and every once in a while to check it. That's way better than closing it and opening it back up. So, but what I want to do now is I'm going to get over here on my machine, and because there's some stuff in here that I don't know for sure what. I want to make sure I know what I should do with it. Can't get it to stop in the right place. Oh, it was there, but I get in a rhythm of hitting that button, and I was forgetting to look. Okay. Now. Oh yeah, I forgot that's what would happen. Well, my screen is frozen, but let's see. I should have wrote it down, I guess. I was thinking when I wasn't thinking straight. When I came back over here, I thought, well, I can. It's way too small for me to even think about reading it. I might could read it with a magnifying glass if I got it up there. It's still frozen. You know, I paused it, so it's still there, but couldn't do a screenshot to where I was. But so I'm going to get on the desktop here and I'll close. I can't see that now anyway. I usually keep that Crusader open so I can watch my backup file being made, make sure it's still being made, but I can't see it when I'm off on another machine anyway. Yeah, one of my original ideas was I put the server under the bed just to get it out of the way, and I thought, you know what, I could run it under there. But then I got to realizing, you know, what's the dustiest place in the house? Under the bed. And so that thing would just get caked in dust. It would block a lot of the noise. I mean, with it as loud as it is now, I'd still hear it, but I'll look at my bookmarks first. I put in RAID 50 and I see all kinds of Amazon links. Why would RAID 50 bring up anything on Amazon unless it was RAID the bug killer? But I see like the one that it somehow defaulted. It's a solder wick, desolder wire. And then the other one is like some of the servers I looked at. I guess you can see what I'm doing, can't you? Yeah, desktop. Okay. 200 for that single rack space server. It's a 360 G7. I think it's the same age group. Well, might not be. It looks older to me than the one I got. Anyway, don't keep doing that. Okay. I can't hardly stop myself. Okay, so yeah, videos. I can't watch a video now. RAID 01, RAID 5, RAID 6, RAID 10, 50, 60, hot spare. Okay. These are videos I've already watched, but of course I can't remember it all. I don't even remember that, you know, I don't remember nothing of that. Looks new to me now. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do well, let's just do RAID 5 first, make sure I remember what it will do. What is RAID 5? Unique version of RAID that uses something called RAID parity. This technique uses parity information or bonus data to calculate any lost information. Parity is distributed among all drives in the RAID. Okay, RAID 5 requires roughly one free drive worth of space to store the parity. Oh yeah, that's what's different about it. Okay. How many drives do you need? Minimum 5. Okay. Oh no, 3. 2 for data, 1 for parity. Oh, okay. And I remember Morton especially. Really, he did several good videos explaining this is, you know, the pluses and minuses of picking which one you're going to use. And like for instance, if I remember right, RAID 5, you really wouldn't want to. You can do it with 3, but you wouldn't want to because you're really losing space. But if you've got like, you know, 6 drives or something like that, then it sounds like you could use 5 drives and that would work out perfectly because the 5th drive would be your parity drive. But anyway, he showed the math and why you may want to or not want to use, you know, the different versions of RAID. But I can't remember the details. Why is it bad? Sometimes there's kind of dumb things in this section here on Google. I don't use it all that often. Yeah, I can tolerate a whole single drive failure. Okay. It would be bad if you just had some bad sectors on the drive and if I understood that, what it said there, bad sector on one of the drives let me read that again. Sounds to me like if one of your drives that didn't fail but you're writing back to and during the recovery has some bad sectors or a bad sector, I would think it would have to be more than just one. I don't know. Like in NTFS drives, you can have bunches of bad sectors and still not lose any data. Well, you may lose a little bit, but not much. And you can have 100 bad sectors. Well, maybe, okay, say you have 25 bad sectors and you really won't be noticing much or any data loss. As long as you run the check this, fix this. I always get mixed up now between the Linux fix this and the Windows fix this programs with the right names, but let's see, is it write speed is somewhat slower? Okay. How much storage do you lose? Yeah, you're going to lose the capacity equivalent to 1 drive. Oh, okay, so which is best for backup? RAID 1. Didn't really that didn't ring in my head right. I'm not quite getting that. It's not what that's for backup. That's not, you know. Well, if I was going to put one of my backup drives in there as a backup drive, then you got to have two to do that. Okay. Well, there. See, I was thinking of just formatting it actually as VTRFS and just let it use its own software array. Do it that way. But I don't know if I could do that with, with the RAID control managing it. It doesn't seem to give you a way to do that. I do know you can't just pop a drive in there and use it. Well, I don't think. If it's already formatted, I haven't tried that. I haven't seen Morton try that. He never does that. Could you just pop a drive that's formatted as what, like say BTRFS in there, and just add it to the pool, drive pool, I guess you'd say? Okay, the other one, the one I didn't really remember seeing. Well, let's look at RAID 50 first, because I remember there was something cool about that, but I don't know how. 50, also known as RAID 5.0, combines distributed parity RAID 5 with striping RAID 0. It requires a minimum of 6 drives. Oh. Better write performance, increased data protection, and faster rebuilds. Okay, but that's going to take up a lot of drives. I mean, I could do that with 6 drives there, but it almost does sound good, doesn't it, for being my operating system drive? Let's see. I haven't. Somewhere I should have file systems or something. I probably have it like under Linux file systems or something. Why don't I just make me a new folder called RAID? Because I want to make sure I at least get the links to the basic search info. I'm just looking at these because it seems like if it has the, well, that did work. I mean, normally I go to something a little more detailed and go on, and I may need to look on down there. I was, yeah, let's look at this. There's no diagram showing up there. It might be because of my ad blocker or something. I don't know. But I'm not going to worry about it. I understood what it said, so I'm not reading it out loud because I'm just stumbling over my words trying to do it. I like to use 3 or 4 disk RAID 5 sets in a RAID 50 array. Oh, maybe I didn't understand that. It seems like he keep. First, I thought they were. Well, it sounds like you see 3 or 4 RAID 5 sets in RAID 50 arrays. Huh. That's what I didn't catch that part. Let's see. With RAID 5, if you increase the number of disks in the array, you increase the likelihood that you'll experience total array failure as more than one drive fails at the same time. As you move into RAID 50 territory, that additional space that you're giving up translates directly into lowered risk, as RAID 50 systems can suffer multi-disk faults as long as those disk faults happen in the right places. With RAID 50, if you suffer multiple disk faults in any of the underlying RAID 5 set arrays, the entire RAID is toast. However, each individual RAID 5 array can withstand the loss of a single disk. You never want to have more than one disk go bad at a time, regardless of RAID configuration, but at least with RAID 50, your chances are much better that a second disk failure will not happen in the same array as the first failure. This is one reason that keeping the individual RAID 5 arrays small, 3 or 4 disks at most, makes a lot of sense. Okay, I wouldn't have thought about that. The more disk you add to the individual 5 arrays, the higher your risk for suffering dual disk loss in one array. Remember, the O part of RAID 50 offers no fault tolerance. All fault tolerance happens in the individual RAID 5 level. So it seems like you got to have a lot more drives than I've got to use RAID 50. I might even be able to select it. I didn't try, Yeah, it keeps saying RAID 10 in there, and I don't really know anything about RAID 10. Yeah, but it sounds like it may be a little slower than I would want to build an operating system on that, though. Sounds like it'd be good for storage, but not for your operating system. I'd originally thought I'd put my operating system on the SATA drive, and then I started realizing, well, those SAS drives are actually read and write way faster than the SATA drives. I was seeing somebody talking about that. So that well, I was starting to say a while ago. Morton's all in to figure out ways to put solid state drives of all different kinds in the servers. There's the most recent one was some called something else, but it's just basically the electronics on a little stick, you know, and you stick it on a PCIe card, and you can. He was saying you can get like all this space he was talking about on there, and it reads faster than, you know, SAS drives, and definitely faster than SATA drives. Now, one thing I am going to do, I know, when I get this server set up and going, I'm going to plug both of my, but initially I'm going to plug both of my USB backup drives in there and use Lucky Backup to write to them, just like I'm doing here on this Lenovo. And then later, once I get another drive, which will probably be another USB drive because it's the cheapest way to get them, I take that 5 terabyte drive. I was thinking I'd take that 5 terabyte drive and put it in hard drive slot on the server if it fits. That's the other thing is, you know, getting around to having time, getting that drive taken apart and seeing if it'll even work, and making sure you don't ruin anything while doing it. It's long out of warranty, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. I didn't really want to take it apart while it was in warranty, especially when I only had one. Oh, okay. It says it provides better write performance than RAID 5. They both seem to be pretty good on read. I didn't pay attention to what site I was going to, but I have read that site a lot over the years. I just saw the title and I thought that looks like it'd be all right. There it is, 0 plus 1. Isn't that one of the ones? Or was it 1 plus O, which must be RAID 10? I guess I'll have to flip back over there to the machine to see. Yeah. So, I'll go ahead and, now I've lost my whole train of thought. There we go. The laptop went to sleep on me too. I want to check my stream again. Okay, so cam 2. Now this time you only see the monitor. Well, of course, right now you see in the back of my head, but now I don't know if it. I guess it. Oh, it didn't go to sleep. I have to switch the monitor back to the DVI input again. Okay. Now, yeah, RAID 1 plus O. I'm going to bet that that's RAID 10. And I can see from what I was just reading, I don't want RAID 10. I don't want RAID O. That's just no security whatsoever. So, yeah, RAID 1 plus O. I'm going to bet that that's RAID 10. I can see. Okay, so,
And 50, what did she say? Oh, 3 or 4. He said 3 or 4 drives. So, well, you could do 4 and 4 is 8, divide it directly in half, uh, and then I guess put all that together in a RAID 50. But I think I hadn't even considered something, anything like that. I didn't. You can select RAID 50. Select any of them you want. But I'm going to go back over here now. Whoops, hit the wrong key again. Okay, so if I have them all selected, if I hit RAID 50, well, I don't know what I get. It probably won't do like this guy in that article was saying, 2 RAID 5s inside the RAID 50. I bet it wouldn't do that. You probably have to manually do that. But I like the idea more of having. Well, that's kind of small is the only thing. Like 200 and not really even 300 gigabytes. One, 2, and then 46 is that's not another 100. Plus, you're not gonna. I don't think it's. I don't know. I don't think it's quite as bad on SAS drives, if I remember right from watching the videos. What you don't get as much of a cut. Actually, maybe you don't get any cut. Maybe they actually do have whatever amount of space they're labeled as. I can't remember now. But either way, it's going to be. It's 3 gigabyte. 300 gigabyte, yeah. So it might be somewhat close to 250 gigabyte, like my little, but that's not really anything usable. And I'm thinking, well, if I start out like that, I'm kind of crippling. I won't want to use those 2 drives I won't want to use them because I'll be thinking, no, I'm going to take them out to if I can put the other drives in there. And, and if I divide them somewhere like in half, like 4 and 4, then that might not be near as big as I'd like it to be. I guess I have to get the calculator again. I didn't realize I was going to have, I thought I kind of knew what I wanted to do. Once I got I've got in here before, but I didn't try to do anything. Come on, I'm trying to get my calculator to wake up. 146 times 4, 584 gigabytes. Well, that's not too small. But I know when you start making operating systems, virtual operating systems, and well, like if you make, let's see, what is my, well, you fill them up quicker than you ever think you would. My XP system, can't add anything else to it, and I've desperately been wanting to here and there. Not enough space. I tried resizing it, and it didn't seem to. It showed it to be bigger, but then I still. It still showed to have like 2 gigabyte space left on it, and then I got thinking, wait a minute, that thing is like a automatically growing deal. It's not. Doesn't take up the full amount until you get to the full amount. So I thought, well, maybe I'm actually just fine. The other day I was looking at it. So 584, if I do 4 of them, but I won't actually have that much. I'll lose a whole minus 146 if I use RAID 5, 438. So, but I do totally get what he was saying about, yeah, I wouldn't want to make it like the whole thing a RAID 50. Yeah, he said 3 or 4, so I would probably go ahead and do. If I do RAID 5, then and 4 drives, then I would have 438 gigabyte. Okay, that's not as big as I really know I probably would want. So 146 times 6 equals, well, that's that. He made a good case for not making them bigger than 4 though, 3 or 4. Yeah, and if I took, so I'm not even going to figure that one out, because if I did that, then I wouldn't. I don't think that'd be smart. It totally made sense to me, because I'm kind of remembering some of, when I was reading that, I was kind of remembering some of what I've seen in the videos and stuff. So if I have 146 times 8, okay, so that's 1,168, but I forgot. Okay, so if I did all that in a RAID 5, would I just be losing one? I forgot how much I now don't remember. How would I figure that? If I put 8 drives in there, am I really just using 146 gigabyte of space, or is it going to be like every 3 to 4 drives I'll lose a whole drive's worth of space? Now I can't even remember. So I just have a feeling if I leave these two in their own little configuration, their own little RAID, then it's not going to be very useful, and I'll be kind of hung up, and then I don't know when I'll be able to, get find another drop at a good price. And I don't know. Here's the other thing: I have no clue. The more I look at those cases, I think they could have the bigger drives in them. They may not actually have the small laptop size drives in them. And the laptop size drives are the ones that'll fit in this machine. So that original idea is beginning to not look as good as it did. But I don't like the idea of only having the 4 drives, because then that's just way smaller than I want my main operating system to be. I mean, I don't want to do RAID 0. You could just have all the space and then rely on the backup drives to be the backups, but I don't think I want to do that. I like having, it seems to be me to be enough space to go ahead and have lose, even if I lose a whole drive size, or more, even, it's not too bad since I got 8 of them. But the reason I originally thought of taking 2 out, because I thought you had to have RAID. I thought you always had to have 2 drives, 2 equal sized drives. I thought that. But I don't actually have that. My 2 backup drives are different sizes. And now I see that you don't actually have to do that. They can be odd numbers and stuff in RAID 5. So I think that was in RAID 2. And I didn't read any more about the RAID 10, but I think the RAID 1 plus O is RAID 10. Because even in that article I was reading, it said RAID 50 is also written as RAID 5.0 plus O. So I already know I don't want RAID 10. I saw enough in there about that I don't want RAID 10 anyway. So I don't know why RAID 2 is not in there, or any of the others. And I think this is what they considered at this time in 2010 to be the best thing out there, So I either want to divide it in half, or I don't want to just take 1 off. I could. Well, I'm kind of worried if I tie up 7 drives, like if I do that, it'll let me, well, that doesn't mean it'll work, but I forgot how to make it, tab. it lets me select different things. Oh, I can't go to RAID 50 like that. Okay, so it does. This is a smart. It's a helper. I think it kept calling it a wizard, even though it's a CLI interface. But yeah, I can do RAID 5. I can do RAID O. I cannot do RAID 10, I guess it is, and I can't do RAID 50 like that. But if I go back and you gotta get used to the navigation here. Now I can select anything I want. 55, 10, 1 plus O. So 0. Okay. So now what happens if I do? I only do 1 through 6, and do RAID 5, RAID 50. Okay. So yeah, I think you still need. If you're going to do anything besides RAID O, I think you still need, even numbers. You can't. Yeah. Okay, so I was right about that. Except for, well, I didn't mention that, I guess, but I didn't. RAID O was just a single drive. You could make every one of them into a RAID O, RAID 0, RAID Z, if you're really cool. So, but I don't plan on having, if I buy another SATA drive, I don't plan on having 2 of the same. The thing is, I don't want to buy another 5 terabyte drive. I guess I could, but they're not that much cheaper than the 8 terabyte drives to make me want to buy another one now. When I bought it, the price jump from 5 to 8 was big, and then they went down quite a bit, after a couple of years. And now the 10 terabyte's looking better, it's getting at a better price. But well, I think maybe you can use a bigger drive and a smaller drive, but then you're going to waste all this extra space. It's going to go to, the RAID will only use whatever the smallest drive is. I think you can do that, maybe. I think I remember that. So anyway, I'm trying to think of matching drive sizes, and so I know I want to read. I suppose, let's see, how many? 5 terabytes. Okay, so yeah, if I have enough space on my main setup, I can always copy all the data off of that 5 terabyte onto here, and then then reformat it, do whatever I want to do with it, even if I don't put it in here, but then either get another drive. If I want to put drives in here, I need 2 of the same size if I'm going to have any redundancy. I could put that 5 terabyte in here and make it a RAID 0. I could do that. That was kind of what I was thinking at first. But then I don't. Well, the reason I wanted to have 2, really, I was thinking of taking them out of the machine and setting them on the shelf, like I said earlier, to in case the drive fails, I've got a drive. I can just put it in there and hit let it recover, and I'll be all right. I won't even have to worry about finding one at a good price or ordering one or anything like that. That Morton highly recommends that. He has totes full of different drives. He's a collector. He has everything from stuff that's so old. He after a while he saved some stuff that got so old that he really, he couldn't get $1 each for them. So some of them I think he just threw them away. But he kept saying I may have to throw them away, but I hate to. But he took some to a hard drive recycling. Not recycling as in crushing, but as in a company. He took a bunch of stuff to a company. He made a video of it, and a lot of it turned out to be useful, and some of it was just, it's scrap metal for them, So, so anyway, yeah, I don't want to do any odd numbers. So, 146 times 6. 876. Now that should even minus 146, if that's how much I would actually lose. 730. That gives me plenty. That's about the same amount of space as my 10 terabyte drive actually has on it. It's 7.3 terabytes, 730 gigabytes. That's pretty close to the same, I think. So. Round about So, yeah, so I'm thinking, okay, if I needed to, I could copy everything off the 5 terabyte onto here and do whatever I'm going to do with the 5 terabyte drive, reformat it, and even if all I do is reformat it to ext4, you know, or if I want to put it, if it'll work in this machine and I can put it in this machine, I may be wanting to do that. I might by that time decide, hey, maybe I want my operating system on that drive, even, you know, if it's actually turns out it's faster, and I could put BTRFS on it and lose a little space, but it would be have its own redundancy, you know. If I can, I don't know if you can, like I said, I don't know if you can format a drive, put it in here, and just add it to the, I'll say pool, because I know it wouldn't be proper to say add it to the RAID array if it's not formatted in, you know, this way. I'm going to do it like this, and then I may go back and put these other two in a RAID. Can't do a RAID 5. I'd have to do a RAID 0 on those two. But, yeah, that's true. Well, I don't want it any smaller than that. Or I guess it's probably be smaller than 730. I'm not sure how much I'm going to lose. He did say don't make your RAID 5s any bigger. Yeah, he said 3 or 4 at the most. Right. Okay. So that tells me to divide it right in half then. Or I could go 3, 6, 7, 8, and I don't have 9. Okay. Well, I could do 3 and 3. Isn't that an awful lot of space loss that way? Yeah, if you have 3 drives of the series, you're going to lose the whole drive for the size of a whole drive. So if I did it that way, I would have 584 gigabyte. If I divide them up into 2 RAID arrays of, yeah, 3 each. But then I'd have these other 2 left over. It may not be such a big deal as I'm making it in my head to have extra drives. For me, I'm not, you know, running an enterprise server setup here, you know. And I do have 2 backup drives that I will keep, you know, like I've been doing for the last 3 years or more. My backup runs about 20 minutes after my machine boots, and now I have redundant. You know, it goes to one drive and then goes from that drive to the next drive. So even if the whole drive failed, I still have another one that would have, you know, everything up to the point to where that drive failed. So, and I've only had my Linux operating drive. I've only lost one Linux system and not able to recover. I've had them broken and I've fixed them a few times, but there's only one that I couldn't recover. And that was early on. I think it was on, I got in Linux in 05, and it was probably in Fedora. I was running Fedora. Well, I guess it was, yeah, must have been Fedora 8. Or I was actually running a remix called Blag Linux, Blag 8. I think it's when I lost everything and couldn't fix it. And now I know a lot more, if I can remember it, than I did back then, you know, how to do that stuff, and more programs and stuff. So I think if I did 2 arrays of 3 drives, I'm actually going to end up with, but that'll be separate, not together. I don't want that. I really don't want that. Yeah. So I'm not really taking the guy's advice in that case then. I don't quite understand. I mean, this is making it simple for you, but I've studied to try to understand it. And so if I just select this many drives and then select, clear that, and then select RAID 50, what's it going to give me? You know, is it going to divide them up into? It's probably not going to divide them up. I think it'll put all those together in a RAID 50, and that was the thing that guy, and it made sense to me. Said, you know, I don't think that's a good way to do it. He was saying you're having a higher chance of losing the whole array. He was saying to go no more than 3 or 4 drives in a RAID 5 inside your RAID 50 is the way I got what he was saying. But since I don't have enough drives to make that really seem, then I think, okay, I just want a RAID 5. So, but then I think I would, out of the 6 drives, I would be losing 2 to the backup data. I forgot what the word they used, but that's a lot to lose. You're going to lose that much, you might as well use all 8 drives is what I was thinking. But I really do want the flexibility to be able to not have to upset my operating system, but to be able to pop in a SATA drive and make it into a RAID 0 or 2 of them and make it into a RAID, I guess a RAID 5. Well, you can't make a, can you make a RAID 5 out of 2 drives? Now I've already forgot. I guess I'm getting too tired to carry on much longer. I'm reading stuff and trying stuff, and I don't remember what I just tried. Okay, that answers the question right there. It's not going to let you do a RAID 5. You can't do it with, you got to have at least 3 drives. I'm sure I read that over and over. So you can only do a RAID 10 or a RAID O. Okay, that's cool. That helps that actually helps a beginner, you know. And most of this stuff on this server is aimed towards the professional that knows what they're doing, you know. And that's 5 drives. In some ways that makes sense. Let's see. Oh, you can only do a RAID. Oh, you can do a RAID 5 or a RAID O, but I don't want 5 because that's less space, you know. So I don't want that. The minimum I want is 6 drives worth of space, and I think I will. Even if I lose 2 drives out of there, I'll still have enough that if I needed to back up that SATA NTFS drive. Let's figure that one more time. 6. 140. Okay, that's 876 minus 146. That's 730, and then minus 146 again. If that's what it is, 584 gigabyte. That's still more than the 4.5 gigabyte. 584 gigabytes. I have 4.5 terabytes. You dummy. This is nowhere. The whole total of the whole thing is nowhere near what that drive is. That's why you're wanting to put the big drive in there, goofy. Yeah. I can make those kind of goofy mistakes too often anyway when I'm trying to think about numbers and stuff. But I am really, really tired. I'm going to do that. I can always do it again if it doesn't work out. Why didn't I do that to start with? So, well, I'm learning. Everything I'm doing, I'm learning slowly, but I'm learning. Maximum boot partition. Disable 4. I'm going to say it's disabling the 4 gigabyte maximum, or you could enable 8 gigabyte maximum. I'm going to say that's one that's previously selected by it is actually no maximum. I don't believe I would have any need for a boot partition bigger than 4 gigabytes. So if I'm wrong, then I'll still be okay, I think. Okay. So enter to create the logical drive. Tab to navigate. Okay, so I'm going to do that. You have selected a logical drive with a total data size of 638 gigabyte and a RAID 5 fault tolerance. Press F8 to save the configuration. Press escape to cancel. What does it say up at the top? Bad about skipping stuff. Like it looks like a BIOS screen. I'm used to those, but this is not a BIOS screen. Yeah, okay, it's the same stuff in every screen. Okay, so F. My eyes are so blurry I can't see my keyboard letters. Save. Okay. Now, press enter to continue. All right, and you get a chance to do it again. So what I'm going to do then, view logical drive. Well, let's view it first, see what we're going to end up with, and then I'm probably going to create something out of the other 2 as well. Maybe. We'll see. Logical drive. Okay, so now this does make sense to me. If they're going to call it a logical drive, that's just exactly what I'm used to working with. I just wasn't thinking about it that way. LVM is what we Linux people call it. Okay, logical drive, 1 RAID, 5, 683.5 gigabytes. Okay. Enter to view. Of course, we only have one. Escape to return. So, oh, hit enter. What do we do now? Oh, it's just telling you what drives you have in there. And for some reason you can't assign spare drives. Let's see. I don't want to do that. I'm pretty sure Morton was talking about that in a recent video. He was talking about setting up spare drives. And he said, well, that's just I don't need that. That's a big waste, you know. It's just sitting there in case the other one fails. It'll automatically use it, which would be a great thing in an enterprise. But I see an error over there. I think you can go down and you'd see the 6 drive. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Hit the tab, you can get over there. Yeah, there's a 6 drive. And okay, so I guess I should have hit escape. Yeah, escape. Okay, now I'm going to create another one. And of course, there's only two drives left, and you can only do. You can do RAID 10 or you can do RAID O. I'm going to do a RAID O on those. Those will be separate drives that could be taken out without breaking any array. Yeah. Going to have, you have selected a logical drive with a total data size of 273,475 gigabytes. Well, they are put together in an array, but they're 0 fault tolerance. At RAID 0 fault tolerance. Do I want to do it that way? I could, instead of putting them together. I really wanted them separate so I could take one out and put in one of those SATA drives. But a 146 gigabyte drive is not a lot to do with it either. I don't really want to put them together, so I'm going to go back out of there. I really want to be able to do, of course I could always break that, couldn't I? Because they're not, yeah, I think I'll keep them together. I'd have to read up on the RAID 10 to see if this, yeah, the way I saw it, it wasn't really much use. It may be that it's 1-for-1, and that would be sucky. I guess you can, oh, let's hit it and see what we ended up with. 1 point, yeah, I don't know. It didn't tell me anything. Okay. I guess I'll do it like that, because separating them, I do like the thought of, okay, if they're just, each one is its own little single, I think you can do, let's just find out if we can do that. I'll just be learning here. So we'll say, oops, hit enter, I meant to hit space. Okay, you can do it. And that's it, that's all you can do, RAID 0, 146 gigabytes. I'm gonna do that for now. I can change it later. I won't be putting any data on them, I don't imagine, but I want them to be, I want to format them and make sure that they're working drives. I really don't like the idea of not knowing if your drive is working. Yeah, you only got one choice, RAID 0. Okay. It's really pretty easy to work in this utility. Oh, crap. Somebody banged into something. Scared me to death. Kind of wondered how. Hope nobody fell down or anything. Usually that's not the case, but I'll worry about my mom falling or something, you know. I don't hear anybody. I may have to go look. I'll be worrying too much. Okay. So that threw me way off. Okay, so yeah, let me. I think still playing. Forgotten left my preview playing. There. Thought I had it paused. Okay, so I may get up and go look here in a sec. So I've got a RAID, logical drive 1, RAID 5, logical drive 2, RAID 0, 136 gigabyte. Yeah, you see you lose 10 gigabytes, okay. And RAID 3, 136 gigabyte, 0.7 gigabytes. So you lost, instead of 146, we got 136. So we lost 10 gigabytes. Okay, so now delete logical drive, manage like cache settings, enable write cache battery override. Well, this thing has a battery and everything. I thought that would be enabled. This will enable write cache irrespective of battery charge state, not recommended. Oh, okay. Enable this option will not result in loss of data in case of, would result in case of unexpected power loss. Press F8, cancel, escape. Okay, we won't do that. So, how do you just get out of there? Exit, escape. Okay, there we go. Okay, it's updating logical drive count. And it rebooted. I guess I should have left it where it was. I was thinking I would get out of there and then go back to my machine and go check and make sure everybody's okay. Oh, it's trying to pixie boot now. Okay. Because there's no drive to boot to. Now I can put in my Fedora installer or whatever, and it should, because I still haven't put the live system on anything, but I do have the installer. But yeah, I think I'll put that in the, so it won't keep on a circle of rebooting. It's what it's going to do. I'm going to put that in there, and oh, I think you have to go and tell it to do special video mode, though, don't you? Okay, I'm going to put that in there and go check, make sure everything's okay, and let it do its thing. I was going to go put this. Yeah, let me do that. I can't. I'm getting confused here. Okay, I'm going to put this in. All right, so now when it reboots, I may have to hit, what is it, F10 or F11? It usually sees the USB and just boots to it. There we go. We don't need to test it. But I think I do have to select this fallback video mode, though. So we'll see about that here. I'm not sure if, well, it seems to be working. Oh, the fallback video mode was because when I was booting it to the old you know, onboard video device, but I have this big old brand new video card, so yeah, it should work perfect in that. That's right. I've got 8 gigabyte video card, brand new ones from this year, so maybe it was made last year, but definitely not a 2010 VGA, you know, 64 megabyte video card. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So I'm going to leave it right there and get back on my machine and my Lenovo. And I don't know, I'm trying to think what would be the best thing to do. Okay. Now, all right. I think I need a break too now. So I think what I should do is just take a break, make sure everything's okay, you know, nobody fell down or anything. And I'll just stop this stream and start a new one, because I was thinking I'd put it on, you know, the music, like be back in a minute kind of thing, but that'd be silly really now. Okay.